Coming at you live from the Vivid Seat Studios here at DNHQ2 in beautiful South Pasadena, California. This is a Lot of Words podcast. We're also known as the Blue Heaven Podcast. You guys aren't supposed to see Kenley yet. That was from the future, but some of you guys caught early wind of Kenley's struggles. We are powered by the Overtime Podcast Network, and my name is Clint. You can find me as Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram.
And I'm Brooke. You can find me at BrookeMe3 on Twitter and Instagram. And on today's show, we are going to talk about the terrible, no good, very bad bullpen that is Kenley Jansen. And
just him? He's the entire bad bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, there's some good parts of the bullpen.
You're not
though, and we're going to
wrong.
talk about that too. Some other things we got to talk about though.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger's not as good as he once was.
He is not.
That's a song, I think.
He's not terrible. He's not terrible by any right. Oh, in August he's been pretty bad. But we're going to get into those numbers for sure. We got to talk about BDE Joe Kelly because dude has been like electric. We're going to pontificate. We're going to prognosticate. We're going to look at some of our September call-ups and who we think, I'm assuming, is coming up and who we hope doesn't come up. Plus, they're going to need to make some roster move for some guys coming out the 60-day DL. So all of that and more. Hey, keep it on the DL,
You said
bro.
big words, and I don't know what those mean.
I'm OG.
I'm not learned good.
But first, before we do any of that, we got to give a shout-out to our friends over there in that upper right-hand corner. I think that's right hand for you guys. It's left hand for me. But they are Sportscaster. And at sportscaster.com, you can be the star of your own show. You can look like a pro, sound like a pro, even be as cool as Brooke, who is allegedly crooked.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed he is crooked. So go check out Sportscaster. That is sportscastr.com to find out more about it. But, of course, after our stream and even after the game because this is a pre-game show.
Yeah, so watch the stream, then watch the game, and then go to Sportscaster. And then
don't
you can
cross
be
the
really
streams.
cool. Don't cross streams.
Don't cross the
That's
streams.
against the rules. Don't forget, guys, this is a live show, so let us know in the comment section where you are representing Dodgers Nation and drinking from. We are currently drinking from DNHQ2. Let us know, and maybe you'll get a shout-out, maybe not. But if you mention Miami, we'll talk about it.
You're going to get DFA'd.
Yep.
So first things first, before we get into the Kenley Jansen talk, we have to figure out what's going on with Max Muncy. Nothing's been announced yet. They did say he was at the ballpark today in Arizona in a wrist holder straighter, and he is not still not feeling all that well. I guess over there at Petco they didn't have too hot of an X-ray machine as well.
Such as in Boston. It's a coincidence that every time the Dodgers are in town, the X-ray machines go down for some reason.
But, yeah, apparently they said that he was hit. David Vassay is the one who came out with it. Muncy was hit in the same spot as Chris Taylor was in Boston. It didn't look pretty. The pitch was 94 miles per hour on the gun. And, yeah, you know, he's not going to play. He's not going to play for a few days, and that's fine. We have enough people. Kike is going to back him up. CT3 is right there. Of course, we know Gavin Lux can be, somebody that makes their way up very, very soon.
Making their way downtown.
Moving fast, indeed. But we'll get more into that, and we'll keep an eye on the Muncy stuff. For everybody that's here live, everybody on the podcast is going to be like, wow, you guys are way out there. And Perez1619 on Twitch says, I'm like Bellinger, you can't DFA me.
I should have talked to you earlier in the season.
Man.
You would have known. We got a couple people checking in. We got Zamo USMC from Upland, California. That's not too far from here. I think that's an L. LHTD Mueller from Mexico City. Oh, ¿cómo estamos? He's in Mexico.
Were those words?
Yeah,
cool.
He's good.
Al
Leiter.
Al Leiter's here.
That's what that is. 18, Los Angeles, checking in on Periscope.
No, it's a lighter.
Oh, yeah, and Los Angeles. That's what it is. It's not Los Angeles. He's checking in from the Angles. Miguel
Respect.
Delgado over on Facebook checking in from 805 Oxnard. I like that beer. It's an all right beer.
Yeah.
Not a bad beer, 805.
If somebody gives it to me for free, I'm cool with it.
I'm good with most free beers. So.
I'm more of a Modelo time or a Pacifico Foo if you're nasty.
Greg Tucker checking in from Palo Cedro. I don't know where that is, but apparently it's in NorCal.
Cool.
Have you heard of that?
Let's go ahead and give him that because he's living in Giants-ish country.
Yeah.
Because anywhere NorCal to a Dodger fan is Giants country. I think that's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's good. He's
so
good.
the Dodgers are sitting at 88-47 on the year, 6-4 over the last 10. Because I don't know if it's in your mind. Did we not show up for the Yankees or did we get overmatched?
It seemed to me that we didn't show up for the Yankees, and let me put it this way: we were overmatched on Friday, big time.
Yes,
big time overmatched on Friday. Saturday, we should not have won that game. Absolutely not. We should have not won that game. Sunday, we didn't stand it. We
literally said as much.
Yeah, Sunday, when you look at who they were facing, not only as the starter, but in the bullpen members that followed, those are all guys that the Dodgers should have lit up, and they didn't.
Yeah.
These are guys that, +4, 4.5 ERAs, guys who on any other team are probably like number 5 starters at best, and you literally hit the very first pitch you see out and then don't score the rest of the game. So they definitely didn't show up for Sunday. I'll tell you that right now. They did not show up on Sunday, and I was there, and it was hot, and it sucked.
Yet another game where Brook Me 3 is there, and they lose.
I'm saying, if the Dodgers are listening, specifically the PR team, because I think this is very important to the PR team, if they're willing to pay me, I will not go to any more games. And if they pay me to not go to the playoffs, I absolutely will not.
Yeah, don't you have friends in the front office now?
Yeah, I'm hoping they listen and pay me. That's the thing.
Come on,
come on, Tina, get on it.
Yeah. Teeny, as we call her, right?
Teeny.
Friend of the show.
Yeah.
The most important thing, I think, happy notes before we get into Kenley, before we get into all the other words that I said earlier and that Brooke said earlier. Colorado was eliminated from playoff contention yesterday.
Weren't they supposed to win the West?
They were supposed to win the West. As over here on the podcast, on the live side, we see that a lot of people over there, a lot of pundits, as we like to call them, a lot of people who are supposed to know what they're talking about over at MLB Radio on Sirius XM picked a lot of Colorado Rockies there in that NL West. And I don't know where they came up with that, why they're like, oh, yeah, they're going to be the guys when the Dodgers had kind of sort of not reloaded or overloaded, but, coming into the 19th season, having picked up Joe Kelly, you look at it and you're like, okay, this team's a little bit better than 18. Sure, 18 just barely won. They needed 163 games to win the West. But, that one is a huge miss, including the few people that are like, the Rockies are going to be in the World Series or whatever.
Last year it was kind of a fluke that they had even done as well as they had.
Yes.
They definitely did not have the pitching staff to make it as far as they did, but they managed. The offense more than made up for it the whole year. And I think a lot of people thought that would kind of carry over, but eventually you had to know that it wasn't going to last and they weren't going to make it. So, I think they showed their true colors this year. They're not that team. They're probably not going to be that team for a long time. They don't really have great pitching in their minor league systems as well.
No.
So they don't really have a foreseeable future, honestly. The Rockies have a great offense. Absolutely. They also play in Colorado, which helps sometimes.
They have a great offense
occasionally.
In Colorado.
Yeah. So, I get kind of why they would think they might do okay, but also it baffles me that they didn't recognize that was a fluke year.
Yeah. So friend of the show, Eric Joel over there at DLD, shout out to him for pointing out that and kind of bringing up the receipts as the kids do these days.
I like the receipts
so often on the tweeters, but if you want receipts, you don't have to go very far when it comes to Kenley Jansen. Kenley has now tied. Again, this is a new episode, guys. This is episode 75, not episode 74.
We talked about it last week.
We talked about Kenley. We opened the show with Kenley. He's tied his career high with 7 blown saves so far now in 2019. He had 7 in his first full season closing in 2012, which was a terrible movie. Tied for a career high there. Career high ERA 3.73. You're the one who really enjoyed his wins above replacement as highlighted by Baseball Reference.
A zero wins above replacement. You know that means that Darvish is more valuable than Kenley Jansen. You know that, right? Yeah, the guy that everybody hates so much. All the Dodger fans hate so much.
That's a hot take.
Hot take, Stan. Yeah.
Darvish is more
valuable than Kenley Jansen. I want those exact words.
And you could tag Brooke in it.
There you go. It's phenomenal. But, you talked about it a little bit, and you touched on it. And that, we saw it last night. He has terrible luck in some scenarios, and that's led to a lot of his bad luck. He has a 289 average on balls in play, batting average in play, and he's usually hovering around like 230 or low numbers like that.
For an air quote lockdown closer, he's definitely being BABIP'd to death. I guess in the pitching way. Normally you hear being BABIP'd to death in the way like when we are going to in a little bit talk about Cody Bellinger and his perceived struggles, and they're not even perceived; they're legitimate struggles, but. I know. I posted on Twitter right after it happened, what are going to be the excuses this time for Kenley? And sure enough, there are a number of people who didn't see the irony in them tweeting excuses back to me. And one such being that the fly ball was just out of reach for CT3. There are some people who are really complaining about the shift hurting Kenley a lot. It seems like it's hurt him a little bit more this year. I don't know if that's just the perception in these particular blown saves, but the Dodgers have fully employed the shift this year, and it's actually made them they're 60, 70 runs, defensive run saves better than they were last year so far, something like that. So they're very good defensively, and a lot of that is owed to the shift. So I'm a fan of the shift.
I'm as well, and I think a big part of it is the fact that he doesn't pitch to the shift either.
No.
If he knows it's on, he still doesn't pitch to it. He goes to what he thinks is his best pitch and his best option. And one thing that even the broadcast pointed out, and I'm not talking about the good broadcast, I'm talking about the radio broadcast. They pointed it out. That's how you know it's a problem.
Shout out, Chuck.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Kenley's going a lot more upstairs this year than he's used to. He lived down in the zone with that cutter, and it is really hard, first of all, to get good contact on a cutter down in the zone, but second of all, to get any sort of lift on that ball. But you look at his numbers now, he's living up in the zone. His velocity's down, which you don't blow it past hitters by throwing it up. That's not going to happen for you. If you're sitting 92 and you're used to sitting 94, probably don't go up in the zone.
Yeah.
And that's why he's getting burned by those balls so much. And despite that fact, he's still top 2% in the league in hard hit percentage. He's still top 1% in exit velocity.
Like in the good way or the bad way?
In the good way.
Okay.
So he is still very good in that sense. Like if you looked at those two numbers, you would think like, oh, this is like Mariano Rivera out there. This guy's shutting him down. Nobody's getting a hit off this guy. And the home runs that he's given up, it's not the fact that he's giving up home runs. It's that he's giving them up at the absolute worst possible times, and that's why you see that wins above replacement taking such a dive on him.
Yeah,
he just
really
blows games.
He's really picked like the absolute worst times to give up hits, give up homers, whatever it may be. Throwing the wild pitch yesterday, which. It's sort of a split wild pitch between, or him being a wild pitch or it being a pass ball. But, like when you're back-to-back 2 or 3 feet above your spot, that's different. And let's be realistic. Russell Martin just pitched the day before.
Yeah,
he's not spry in legs or in age anymore. He's no spring chicken, if you will.
He is not a spring chicken. I can confirm that.
Yeah. I can confirm that. He ran away from me twice. So just saying. But to add on to what you were saying and what we talked about last week, Kenley's peripherals aren't that bad. His whip is just under 1.1, which is not good by any means for a closer, but it's not terrible.
Yeah.
2.1 walks per 9 innings isn't the worst. It's something that you see with your kind of high wire act closers fairly often. But, his K rate surprisingly has gotten It's not as terrible as I thought it was going to be at 12.1.
You would think it would be a lot worse,
Yeah,
right?
because it really seems like he's not striking out the same amount. But tied for a career high in his hits allowed per 9 at nearly 8 hits per 9 innings. So that's a bit of a struggle. And to go over to some of the guys, some of you guys over here on the stream, we got Ron saying he needs to be a setup guy or a middleman, and I think absolutely agree with that. He needs some time to get his head right. It seems to be a bit of more, I wouldn't say a mental block, but it's definitely mental something. You know, especially you see him when runners are on base. Whenever a runner's on base, he's more preoccupied with that. You see him doing his stretch and wind up and still looking back at second base while his arm is down. He's about to throw home. Like, that's just too much focus on that. Homie's 31. He's not going to develop a slide step by this point, but whatever. Just let him steal. Do something like that. I wasn't a huge fan of the intentional block, but do it if you have to. I don't like. I'd rather you focus on the task at hand. We got some other people. Lori saying we need to leave Jansen alone. No, he needs to leave us alone, Lori.
I have every right to talk about him.
Yeah, it's not
I've
like
earned
we don't want to be talking about this. We would prefer Kenley be right, but it's hit a point right now where, the Dodgers can't afford, the fan base can't afford to to lose a third straight World Series or not even make a third straight World Series. And Kenley's the biggest question mark on this Dodgers roster right now. Like, even with Max Muncy being down, if he's down, you have 3 dudes, including the top prospect in your system and one of the top 3, 4, 5 in the game, and Gavin Lux you could plug in and try through all of September. So you're fine literally everywhere else. You're also fine in the bullpen and the closer's role as long as you're okay not always having to go to Kenley, which seems to be the thing.
Yeah, and that seems like it's going to be the course of action for the playoffs, too. I don't see it changing at all. There is the slight matter of a guy who's doing very well, though, and that kind of makes you talk, because you look at Kenley and how poorly he's done, especially over the past, it seems like over the past 2 months. He just has not been good, and maybe one exception against the Yankees, and even then it was walking a high wire on that one.
I was gonna say, by the way, to kind of continue on with a few of these, we got Janae Juno in the stream. What's going on, Janae? Saying Russell Martin for closer.
There you go.
You know what? Couple points, Janae, for being a friend of the show and for a good take. Barnes before Martin. On the mound?
I think they're saying that Barnes should be backing up Will Smith. That's been a common theme in the thread so far.
Yeah, well, people are saying what you're saying. They're just friends of Brook Me 3.
Yeah, they know.
A Rusty Star says Kenley looks stressed. Yeah, he's perfect.
Show that clip,
perfect timing as we go to what was on before, or in the start of the show. Kenley was very, very dejected last night after blowing yet another save. Again, his career tying 7th. Season high 7th, however the hell you want to say that, but you see that you see the way the season's going. You see the way he looks in this particular clip, and you do feel for the guy. You absolutely feel for the guy, but it's at a point where 3 blown saves in August. It should be 4 because MLB said they straight up screwed the pooch. Don't read too much into that phrase. It's a turn of phrase. It's old school, but don't screw any pooches. But it should have been 4 because he did blow that save. They shouldn't have called time on the Saturday game. But should Dave in the front office really take this dude's mental state into consideration?
I think at this point, they just Roberts just said, basically, we're just going to keep running him out there. We need him. We're going to have to rely on him. So nothing's going to change. We're going to keep running him out there and see what happens. And that's basically what they're probably going to end up doing. I don't really see them changing it up right now, especially this far into the season. We got a month left. A month left of regular season baseball. So when you think about that, I mean, he looks like he is just going to have a mental breakdown any minute. Every single time he's out there even. And, it's hard on him. I know it's hard on him, and I know he feels it as much as he doesn't want to talk to the media about it, as much as he wants to, say that nothing's changed and he's still the same guy. He's just got to be better, and that's it. It's hard on him, and I think fans, they kind of get it mixed up, and they get a little confused. When we talk about him, we're not talking about him because we don't like him. We're not talking about him poorly because we hate him and we want him off the team. We would love nothing better than to have elite 2017 Kenley Jansen back in the team.
This team can't get anywhere in the playoffs without Kenley.
They absolutely cannot, and they need that. They can't rely on being up 10 runs or 5 runs or whatever it might be on playoff caliber teams during the World Series, during the Championship Series, during the Division Series, any of those. You need that lockdown guy in the ninth, and right now, we don't have that. Anytime he goes out there, it's there's a good chance he blows this game. There's a good chance he blows this game. And I was driving home listening to the game last night, and I was like, I bet you he blows this game. And sure enough, the next pitch, CT, didn't get to that ball. I get it.
He's wheels. There's nobody else that could have maybe got to that ball outside of Alex Verdugo. And CT's faster than Doogie.
He is, for sure. And so
by a good amount.
People look at that and they're like, oh, Taylor should have got to that ball, or
But again, that's the excuses. There's Martin should have got to the ball. After the game, Doc Roberts is saying that he likes his stuff. If Kenley's stuff is there, he looked good. It was just bad luck and soft contact. No, stop saying he looks good.
I don't care what you say. The man
right
misses his spots, and that's all that matters. I don't care how good your pitchers are. I don't care how much movement they have. I don't care how fast they are.
Yeah.
If you miss your spots constantly, especially on a team that employs the shift often, and they are very good at that, and they're very precise at that, and they're one of the best in the league at that, if you miss your spots, Tim Rogers, he's in the stream as well. He brought it up. the shift is very effective, especially for the Dodgers, and they are
hit the
very
spot,
good at
though.
it.
Yeah.
But if you don't hit your spot, it doesn't matter. You can have all your guys standing in one spot. You can have them all sitting on the bench. It's not going to make a difference if you keep missing your spot.
And that's a money point from SD Dodger Tim Rogers in the stream there. Like, yeah, that's 100% right. Friend of the stream also, Chet Kroll says Kenley is one bun short of a hot dog sandwich. He's the hot dog sandwich guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
his thing.
Yeah.
The way Perez brings up Miami as much
He's
as he
hot
can
dog
now.
man.
He had the Chet is hot dog sandwich man.
Yeah.
So last night in the 10th inning, your boy Casey Sadler, mighty Case on the mound. He did allow a base runner, but you know what? He looked pretty damn good, and he was
did.
pitching in his third straight game.
He was.
Wasn't perfect. Like I had said here, it wasn't perfect, but he got the job done. Julio Urias is a guy who could be an option when he returns. I know some people aren't going to be a huge fan of that, but you know, again, we're going to dive more into Joe Kelly right now. But there's no shame in a bullpen by committee trial run for part of September. But there's also no shame in saving money. So use our promo code OVERTIME in the Vivid Seats mobile app to save $100 on all ticket purchases. First-time customers only. Anyways, BDE Joe Kelly. And you kids on the internet know what BDE means. Kelly, man.
Big Dodger energy.
Big Dodger energy. Joe Kelly is...
He's good.
I don't know, man.
He's good.
Like, dude is filth right now.
I mean, you know, we talked about it a little bit with Tim Deverett in the offseason, right after they had acquired him. And he had basically warned us.
Yes.
I mean, he was spot on with it, too. He said, look, he's not going to be the guy all the time that you guys saw in the World Series. He's not that guy. He knows he's not that guy. They know he's not that guy.
Yeah.
He is going to drive you nuts. He is going to make you wish that you didn't pay all that money for him. Then he's going to go through valleys and peaks and valleys and peaks and valleys and peaks, and you're going to ultimately be happy that you got him. That's basically what he said. And he drove us through those valleys. Oh, boy, did he drive us through those valleys. But, I mean, you look at what he's done over the course of the past, I don't know, like almost 3 months now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been rock solid. He's a guy that just,
that
when he's
promo
out
code.
there, exactly, he looks untouchable. I mean, a 1.38 ERA in the last 28 games. He's scoreless for 11 straight now. I mean, if you're looking at the ninth inning right now, is he your guy?
Yes.
Let's say you're making the decision. He is your guy?
100%.
That was easy. I thought it was going to have to be more conversation, but
No,
you got it.
he's earned it by the numbers, and more so, Kenley has not earned it with his numbers. Like Joe was struggling early in the season, and he had to hit some of those lower leverage spots. He had to not, pitch in any of the high leverage spots so he could figure it out. He had to get his confidence back. He had to sort of figure out his role, figure out his thing. And, here we are, where we're in love with the dude, and we want him in the ninth inning over Kenley F. Jansen. Like, that's not at all what you would have expected.
I mean, it's funny because
I guess, 4 months ago?
Yeah, there's a couple of guys right now that you're looking at, and you're like, I'm just going to put it out there right now. If Rich Hill wants to come in and close out games in the playoffs, I'm not opposed to it.
I mean, they're going to try to get Richie up and running for starts, but yeah, I'm cool with it.
Can you imagine him closing out Game 7 of the World Series?
I'm fine with the closer
I
by
don't want to
committee.
think about anybody
He doesn't
closing up.
need to be the guy every time in the ninth, but
No.
that's pretty romantic to think about him.
Baseball's romantic.
But it's also pretty romantic to think about this dude as we're going to throw it up on the screen. Joe Kelly just throwing up 99, 98, just absolute disgust. That second pitch here in the sequence as it starts over, but that 98 with the run, caught the I would say wishful eye. I don't know. It caught the eye of Jeter Downs, number 6 prospect in the Dodgers farm system, and he's like, nah, that ain't real. That's straight up a video game pitch.
It's ridiculous.
This is redonkulous.
You can see, on a pitch that fast, you don't see it break that far back in over the plate on lefties, but you can see Hosmer start to bail out and realize his mistake all in milliseconds of holy crap, it's coming back to the plate. And he's got no chance. He's got absolutely no chance on that
less
pitch.
than zero chance.
Right.
Zada? Is that a word?
Zada's good.
Zada, dude. So that's kind of our guy. I think that's where we're at. We got Joseph saying he can't trust Kenley anymore, and I think that's a good take for sure. Linky says Joe Kelly is comfortable where he is right now. Putting him in the ninth might spoil his momentum. That's another good take.
That is another.
You don't
good
want to
take.
move him out of a spot. Like I found it slightly odd, but I get it. People complaining about him appearing, popping up in the sixth inning, but those are the big outs. You want those guys to end up with the 3, 4, 5 hitters, the 2, 3, 4 hitters. Get the heart of the order, like get the dudes who are right. And we're trying to do our best to set up Kenley in the ninth and give him the lower half of the lineup, but he's still, just not quite working out, unfortunately.
No, he. We talked about it a little earlier in the year when he was struggling. Dave kept putting him into like pretty stressful situations when he was struggling, and it was like, this is not the way to get him out of his funk. This is absolutely not the way.
Multiple inning outings and
multiple inning outings killed him, especially early on. So, yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. You maybe don't want to get him out of that rhythm. He's used to that, role that he's in right now, coming in for big outs in the earlier innings, and
which is what they signed him to do.
They did, absolutely.
Multi-inning fireman to do whatever they need whenever they need it, even in a romantic setting.
Absolutely. And, in the playoff setting, he's going to see, if he's coming in later into games, if he's coming in 8th or 9th inning, he's going to see like big left-handed bats come off the bench. He's not going to see guys that he would normally see. He is actually going to see big left-handed bats come off the bench, and that's that's a little more stressful. It's a little bit different of an approach. So who knows?
The final take here on Kenley's comes from a friend of the show and actual human friend of mine, Ernie. We got Mota here on the stream saying maybe put Kenley's back at catcher.
We need a backup catcher.
We need a backup catcher. Yeah. Kenley's the catcher. Russell Martin, your new closer. Guys,
we figured it out.
We did it, Reddit.
We fixed it.
Oh, man. So, we fixed one problem here today so far. Another one we're trying to fix, and we actually have a post coming out real soon, so everybody on the podcast side, you can go read it from the post from yesterday about the perceived struggles of one Cody Bellinger, or belly flopping, if you will. By the numbers, I would say you look at this on the back of a baseball card, which they don't have anymore, but this season, when you look at that slash line, you look at 42 homers and 100 ribbies, it's like, damn, that's a really, really good season. Well, I mean, there's a full month to play.
There is.
At one point, dude was hitting like 420, bro.
Sad, eh?
And now he's going to struggle to hit 300. Like 270 since May 1st. It's 99 games. Sure, 28 home runs. He's driving in guys. He's not a bad player in any way, shape, or form. Since the All-Star break, he's batting 247, 222 here in the month of August, and his on base really helped after picking up 3 walks on Wednesday.
That helps.
But he hasn't driven in a run since losing his pants at Dodger Stadium.
Big game for him.
With that said, he's probably going to drive in a couple runs tonight and probably hit another homer and like go for 4 because
probably because we talked about it.
Yeah, because people are going to be like, what are these guys talking about? We recorded this before the Thursday game.
Science.
What are you seeing in this dude? Like, does he need a couple games off? Just get off his feet? He's played in 130 of 136 games.
I mean, you look at some of the peripherals on him, and he's hitting 222 in August. He's got 8 home runs in August, so he is hitting for power. It does look like he's trying to drive the ball out of the park.
5 homers came in a 7-game span.
They did. And so he's definitely going through a drought, and he's going through it. He's striking out, in his first month, he struck out in like 14 or less % of his at-bats. Mm-hmm. Pretty low strikeout rate. He wasn't, chasing a lot. It's been a different stories, though.
Yeah.
Since let's just say in August, he's striking out a quarter of the time. And about 25% of his at-bats, he's striking out. And I think I figured it out. I think I'm a genius. I think I figured out all of his problems, and if he wants to come talk to me, I'm available. I'm a great hitting coach. I'm great at popping up. I can teach you how to not, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like to me, now that he's having, and Christian Yelich is going through kind of a similar thing, where people don't want to pitch to him anymore, but he is not as willing to take the walks as he should be this year, or in the last couple of months. Mm-hmm. So, which means people are pitching out of the zone and he's chasing, or people are pitching out of the zone and he's making bad contact because it's bad pitches to swing at. And, in the middle of an MVP race, that makes sense. He wants to keep building those numbers. He wants to keep looking better and better and building his case for that MVP award. And, people will say, oh, he's not thinking about that. He's thinking about the playoffs. And it's like, he is absolutely thinking about that.
Ryan,
that's history.
Perfect timing on Facebook. Ryan Moore says he said it himself, he looks at the MVP race and agreeing with you. He's starting to press too hard, pay too much attention to the outside noise, which is a hot take, good take, Ryan. We got Oscar here saying he's back to the uppercut swing. By the way, Chris is in the stream, so I think we have to start over now. He just got here. Thanks for joining us.
Redo.
Yeah, redo. Coming at you now. But no, you're right on point with that. Like you can see him pressing, but he's still when he's hitting the ball, he's hitting the shit out of the ball.
He is, yeah. I mean, he's definitely making it count.
Is there, but he's doing the atom balls right now.
Yeah, big time. And he's got to learn to roll with the punches on that, because that's definitely going to carry over to the postseason, especially with the hitters that you have surrounding him. You don't have a lot of power surrounding him, especially in his spot in the lineup. The Dodgers tend to front load the lineup with power and kind of trail off at the end. I mean, Kike's kind of an exception. He bats a little bit of everywhere and somehow hits home runs.
Muncy, for the most part, has been protecting him,
which is good, and I hope he's okay, because they're definitely going to need that. But yeah, he relies heavily on the strike zone and balls being in the strike zone and balls being hittable in the strike zone. So yesterday when I was watching the game, I was like, that's actually a pretty good step in the right direction. He almost hit the ball out 2 days ago or whatever it was, but the walks to me were what really meant the most. It's like, all right, he's recognizing that. Someone must have pointed out to him, like, hey, they're not pitching to you, man. You got to stop swinging at those pitches, because he has swung at some pretty bad pitches over the past couple weeks.
As soon as they really started, he figured out that curveball inside.
Yeah.
What got him in 17, what hurt him in 18, he figured out that breaking ball in, and he started crushing it. So to combat that, they started going up the ladder to him, high and away,
Yep.
and as soon as he started chasing those, they're like, okay, we got him for the rest of this
year.
Yeah,
and they're coming up and in on him with fastballs now too, and he's just not getting turned around on him at all. So he's going to have to figure it out because it's crunch time. It's crunch time, baby. 1 month left.
Yeah, for real. And that in that 1 month, as we're saying here, we're talking about people saying stop, Kevin saying stop chanting MVP. It's mental, irregardless. Homeboy's still looking at that MVP race, and we want him to win the MVP, but does he need, in your eyes, that hot September to secure the NL MVP, or is it already locked up? For him?
I think he's taken a little bit of a hit to that award for sure. I mean, Yelich is. I mean, realistically, it's people say Acuna, but I just don't.
Acuna Matata, yeah, it's a very good phrase.
I just don't know that he's really in it as much as people think he is. No. But wins above replacement. Bellinger's still up there. Yelich is still hitting 330,
he's hitting
something like that,
yeah.
And he's got just as many, maybe one less home run, 41 versus 42 or something like that.
But he's doing it on a non-playoff team.
He is, and that does play a factor into it. Like if your team doesn't make the playoffs, or your team doesn't make at least a run, it hurts your chances a lot, because it's the most valuable player. You have to be on an impact team, or else you're just Mike Trout winning MVP awards.
Yeah, exactly.
Which he does.
And of course, because Trout won MVP, then it's okay to just keep giving it to him, even though he hasn't sniffed the playoffs since 2014.
They should have the Mike Trout award and then the MVP award for the AL. It just makes sense.
The
nobody
best
else
player
is
at a
going to
bad
win.
team award.
Yeah, nobody else needs to win the freaking MVP except Mike Trout. So it doesn't even make sense. Just give him the Mike Trout award, name it after him, and then you can give somebody the MVP award.
Somewhere Rob Manfred's like, what?
He's like, whoa, that's a great idea. So if you guys start to see that, idea, oh my God, I need some sort of, compensation.
So real PJ Dwyer, friend of the stream here, says he needs to have a big September to at least keep pace, which I agree.
Yeah.
Mota back in the stream says he needs to get away from that long swing he's back to, and like you're saying, the high pitch, the high fastballs have really given more of the visual perception that a swing is longer, because it is longer. It's harder to get up to that ball up there. Lauren does point out that Yelly is at 42, so Yelly and Belly are tied at the top of the National League with 42. And
Belly's got an 8 WAR though.
8 WAR on.
And I think Yelich is
right?
at 6.
The writers, the voters don't pay attention to that. They don't know what the hell's going on.
I know they don't. But also, Christian Yelich can't hit on the road.
I was talking, yeah, that's pretty big. And again, his team is really bad. I was talking to our boy Daniel Preciado at Dan J Preciado, I think is on Twitter. I was talking to him about that, this MVP thing and all that today, and he pointed out something that's really important when it comes to Cody Bellinger that the voters will also hugely swing and miss on is, I mean, he is having an elite defensive year wherever the hell you put him.
I mean, he's got to win a Gold Glove.
Oh, straight up.
He's got it.
I think he has enough time in the outfield.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He definitely has enough time in the outfield to win a Gold Glove. And he should. He should win a Gold Glove. I mean, who's even out there to compete with him in the National League? I mean, I can't I can't really think of another good glove.
I mean, Christian Yelich has 42 home runs, so that means he has to be good at defense.
That means he's going to win the Gold Glove?
Yeah, that means he's damn good at defense.
I hate Major League Baseball voting. It's the most flawed system in America.
Oh, man. Cam Riddle says Braun won over Kemp because of team records. Kemp's numbers were way better, and they were not juiced. He was only high on Rihanna.
Yeah, and maybe like weed, possibly.
Wow.
The man can eat. That's all I'm saying. The man can eat.
Crushes some
Crushes
cupcakes.
mini
Can
cupcakes.
confirm. I love watching Matty try to get himself back in shape and right again. He's playing a lot of first base, and you know what? Real athletes like me play first base.
That's true. He'll be coaching big league softball in no time.
And real athletes like me like to look fresh in our duds, if you will. So, guys, we got to tell you about our all-new shop, our all-new Dodgers Nation shop. Look at that sweet swag, if you will. You can get that forever collectible friend of the show shirt. You can support us, please, for the love of God. Support us. DodgersNation.com/shop.
Help.
20% off using that code BHLive20. We got Chicks Dig the Launch Angle. We got It's Gonna Be May. We have the Babe Ruth shirt that I am wearing here. But that's some pretty fire stuff. I do have. Hold on, I got to unfurl it here.
You gotta show them.
Yeah, I got. It's a big boy one, guys. So bear with me. But
it's not a blanket.
It is not the blanket. It is not the pillow. But it is Cody Bellinger. You are ridiculous. It's actually a pretty fire shirt.
Pretty cool. I like it.
Designed by our friend of the stream, friend of the show, Courtney McClure. Sir, are you lost? I broke that cup. Anyways, so we've hit that point. We understand where we're at. We understand what's going on. Were the cables in the shot?
Yeah, there was like a
thing
right there.
40 minutes in.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we've gone through Belly. We've gone through Kenley. We got to talk about. I don't have the Taco Bout shirt. I want that one.
Ah, man.
We got to talk about. Okay, so September call up. September 1st is on. Everybody with me all together on Sunday. So the clubhouse is gonna get real crowded. Real crowded.
Yeah, you'd think by this point they'd like make bigger, places.
I have a sheet.
Oh, I thought you were fanning yourself because it's hot in here.
No, yeah. The AC's broken, guys, and it's ruining my
life.
It's ruining my life. As a big boy, it's ruining my life. But it's also I'm sweating in my swell hat that my friends over there at New Era sent me a while back. I didn't properly give them the love, but that whole born and raised LA. Pretty fire hat, I've never been a huge fan of the fitted hats, but I didn't even tell him what size my giant head was, and homegirl nailed it. So
she was like, he's got a big head.
Yeah, you have to say about big heads.
Big hats.
Big hats. So Dodgers clubhouse, like I said, it's lined up to be hella crowded starting on Sunday. I'm guessing mysteriously Christopher Negron's neck is going to heal.
That'll be good.
Yeah, he's going to feel fine.
Tyler White will probably be back.
Tyler White will come back from the buffet. It's messed up. He's a nice kid. He has a thyroid issue. Ross Stripling's neck and biceps will feel fine. And funny enough, we did find out that his outing last night was fine. He did well. And he's lined up 100% to come back on Sunday. I think he threw 3 innings, 45 pitches or something like that. The same that he threw in Arizona today, apparently. Oh, no, he joined the Dodgers in Arizona today after throwing to hitters in a sim game at Camelback Ranch on Tuesday. Feels good. Bill Plunkett nailed it. I haven't seen this tweet yet. I'm reading it right here. We'll be part of the magical wave of healing that takes place on Sunday.
That's cool.
Way to do it, William.
I like that.
We're very proud of you. Julio is also not very far behind. He's eligible to come off on the 2nd or the 3rd. I forget, but David Freeze's leg will magically heal. It's going to feel...
Despite the fact he chased down
Ross Stripling and Kike. I mean, not Ross Stripling, the other guy. Russ Martin and Kike.
Right.
Yeah. What about the other guarantees, though? You got to figure Dylan Floro is going to be a guy who's going to be back. Austin Barnes, they already said, is coming back, although I don't think he's technically eligible until after the 10-day window.
Yeah, he's got to miss a few days.
The guys that are likely to be added, Chargois, Kyle Garlick.
Garlic sauce, yeah.
Garlic sauce, beans and taters will be...
reunited.
Yeah, reunited, and it will feel so good.
Edwin Rios probably coming up.
Edwin Rios is a guy. The other injury guys are going to return along the way, not immediately, but you got Verdugo, you got Alex Hill, Rich Hill, Dick Mountain, who's one of those guys that I said they're going to need a 40-man spot for. I don't think they expect Scott Alexander back this year.
I think he died. I'm not really sure what happened to him. I haven't even... Holy I'm sorry about your ears. Maybe it's just our ears.
Okay,
I don't know.
I'm going to get rid of that one.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Alexander, I'm pretty sure he just, doesn't play baseball anymore or something like that.
I love this. We got Jahuli in the stream who had another fire comment that I wanted to get, but it was out of context earlier. But love you, Jahuli. You're nailing it here. But she says, Chicks dig los home runs, can confirm.
Can't confirm.
He nailed it.
She knows what's
100% crushed it. That is a money comment. Some of those guys outside looking in, you have Josh Spore's butthole and Jamie Schultz. But again, those might be some of the type of dudes that get DFA'd because we need roster spots.
It's very possible.
And the big
roster spots.
The big name boy.
The biggest of names.
Gavin F. Lux, who the entire world lost their mind about last night because shortly after Max Muncy got hit on the wrist and came out of the game, Lux was removed from his AAA game, but it's because he was ejected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we confirmed it with him. He was ejected.
Yeah, he actually DM'd us about it and was like, no, and look at this stupid call. So
he let us know why he got ejected. I appreciated that about you, Gavin. That was very, very professional of you. I appreciate that. That was cool.
Nice kid, friend of the show. But
Dennis Santana, that's another guy you'll probably see up. I forgot about him.
I think we all forgot about him.
Yeah, he has like a 7 ERA in the minor leagues.
He hasn't earned it. But Dave earlier this year, I think a couple weeks ago, said he doesn't anticipate as many dudes being added to the active roster this year, but I'm calling shenanigans.
I always call shenanigans.
Shenanigans. What do you think?
Talking about shenanigans?
It's a lot of people, a lot of bodies, and people need to get their work in September. They're still playing for a home field advantage. You got players changing roles. Who do you think is of those guys? Who's coming up? Maybe let's say instead of going with our surefire not rosters yet, who do you think of those guys is like for sure coming up? You think that the listing that I did there?
I think you're pretty accurate with that. They were pretty adamant they were really forthcoming in saying that Gavin Lux is coming up in September and he has a shot to make the playoff roster. Yeah. We want to get a look at him specifically for the playoff roster. Yeah. So Gavin Lux is going to probably play damn near close to every day in September. He's going to be probably starting 90% of the games in September.
Tim lets us know that Lux is at second base again tonight. So that's really telling again of the plans.
Because he is our future second baseman, you see.
That he is. And he did, again, as some of y'all have heard in past episodes when I had the chat with Mr. Gabo. He's proud of the defensive leaps that he's made, the steps forward he's made this season. So, he grew up as a second baseman. He's playing shortstop. He's gotten a lot better. So him at second base really does work pretty well.
I like it. I like it a lot.
It'll be delicious, if you will.
Oh, here we go.
But the players changing roles. You and I last night were talking about Meta going to the bullpen. He's got to prep for his playoff role. He's obviously not starting. So he's got maybe 1 or 2 more starts at best.
At best.
Our friend, Matt Beatty's going to start less and less because he's got to work on his pinch hitting role. He's not going to start in the playoffs. He probably deserves it. He's a difference maker for this team, and we've seen it now time and time again. When he's we win.
But
you
have Jock thrown out there for righties, most righty games.
Yeah.
And let's face it, guys. He's gonna face righties in the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. But
don't say that.
Matt Beatty has pretty good splits against lefties, so
Yeah.
he's going to get those at-bats later in the game over Jock for sure.
And he's fire as a pinch hitter.
And he's fire as a person.
Yeah. And his wife's really cool people.
His wife's really cool.
But
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody has heard the story from Joe Davis talking about Beatty when he was optioned down the first time through. He asked the front office, "Hey, is it cool if I get some pinch hitting work, in the games where I'm not starting?" And they're like, "Hell yeah, you can. This guy knows his role here.
That's pretty awesome.
You gotta love a boy who knows his role.
Team player.
Let the boy sleep in your bed."
The boy. Oh.
Tony Gonsolin is going to start seeing more innings out of the pen because while he needs innings this year because he's kind of been an oddly hurt at AAA a lot this year, it's pretty apparent that his role is going to be in the bullpen for the Dodgers, for the big league club, and that dude just has nasty stuff. He's like one of the biggest wild cards of the potential for this, for a deep playoff run and possibly eventually winning. I mean, you have Maeda, Gonsolin there in the pen. I really think that Dustin May kind of paired with Rich Hill sounds pretty
in some way,
sexy.
shape, or form.
Mm-hmm. That's a really tall, awkward dude. Like, I'm talking about, like, you guys remember back in the day, Conan O'Brien, late night, he had If They Mated. Yeah. And then he had the knockoff of If They Melded. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's a lot of
Up
legs
top.
between Dustin May and Rich Hill.
A lot of legs and elbows.
Elbows, not arms, elbows.
Yeah. Well, you know how
about him.
like Rich has the weird way he carries him. Anyway,
So we got the for sures.
we have the for sures there. So, who's on your for sure not
On my
playoff
not,
roster?
on my not
Yeah.
list. Not
Who's
my naughty
been
list, that
naughty?
sounds weird. I mean, let's just start at the top. And by the top, I mean alphabetical order.
Are you looking at the roster? All right, fine.
I'm actually looking at the actual roster.
I'll go to the
itself.
roster with you, bud.
I'm going to start with our friend
Rick Krajewski. He's
he's
not on
not
my
on the
playoff
roster for sure. I am so sorry, Rick. You did
Sorry,
not make
Richard.
the playoff roster. Caleb Ferguson, 100% not on the playoff roster.
There it is.
That's all right.
Nah. No, let's go. There it is. That'll be the. No, that's too long. That's the last time we're gonna do that. There it is. Whistle. We're gonna whistle.
Like that.
It's aggressive.
Yeah. So he's one for me, and you're not gonna like this. I know you're not gonna like this. I don't want you to cry.
My body is ready.
I
My
don't want
body
you
is
to cry.
sweaty.
Yimi Garcia. As sure as the sun sets, he will not be on the playoff roster.
You know what? Hey, James.
He didn't give up a home run last night. I'm really proud of
James
him.
is, as we figured out, James Garcia. What he does, Jimmy, if you're nasty. What he figured out, if he hits a batter, he can't serve up a home run because he can only, everybody all together can serve up solo home runs. So
figured out the recipe.
figured it out. He's his
He
own
got
pitching coach.
All right.
Drilled dudes in the elbow.
Moving on from there, that pretty much is it for the pitching staff. I mean, you could argue Adam Kolarek just because they've been so weird about how they use him.
Yeah, they need Kolarek. I mean, Shaggy's not going to be on it. No
Right.
way,
No
shape, or
Shaggy.
form. Probably not Dylan Floro because I think,
Yeah, he's
Sadler.
starting his rehab assignment tonight.
yeah.
I mean, he has enough
he's
time
fine.
to prove himself.
It was another phantom IL thing.
It probably was.
Yeah.
But getting into position players,
Mhm.
this is my favorite one.
I don't think Clayton Kershaw makes the roster.
Jed, I won a contest to get on a Major League Baseball team. Jerko is probably not going to be on the playoff roster. I know that's not really a bold statement by any means, but
Shock and awe.
I'm gonna say,
Can you prepare a boy before you say
I'm probably
such
going to
wild
say
things?
that Mr. Jerko's not on the playoff roster. Does he even have a hit? I don't even.
Yeah, he had like a lucky hit his
Oh,
first
good for you,
outing.
buddy. I'm so proud of you. So he is definitely one for me that's not going to be on the playoff roster. Josh Spores is probably not going to be on the playoff, just so you know.
I don't
if
think
you're
Spores
wondering.
or Schultz are going to
Schultz,
be
no.
on the 40-man.
There is a
in
good chance
September.
that Ross Stripling's not on the playoff roster,
That
and
was
he
one of the-
wasn't last year.
That's one of the questions I was going to have for you here. If you're now stuck choosing between Casey Sadler and Ross Stripling, who
Casey
are you
Sadler.
taking? Good call.
If you're stuck between
We love you,
Gonsolin,
Ross.
May, and Stripling, and you only get two of them,
Mm-hmm.
Gonsolin, May,
Gonsolin for the pen. Gonsolin.
May. Let's say it comes down to May and Stripling in the bullpen.
May. Oh, I don't know. I want to see him throw a couple more out of the pen.
Dude, I'm taking the electricity over the.
But Ross has been so good in a multitude of roles, and you know he can come in there and either strike out a dude or get that ground ball. He has control of his secondary pitches, as where Dustin May is still kind of learning him.
He does.
If it's between May and Ross for that final spot, and it's not because we've had him on the show, but I got to go with Ross.
He was sitting right there. That's
just
why.
just in that final like long man versatile role, just because he's done it for the better part of his entire 4-year major league career.
4-year, 5-year. All right. Well, here's an interesting one I'll throw at you then, because it gets a little interesting.
Let me get my glove.
I'm not gonna actually throw.
Coward.
I can't really throw.
Coward.
When you get down to the catching situation,
Will Smith does not.
Okay. Yeah. So who's your backup? Is Russell Martin still your playoff backup, or is it Austin Barnes?
We talked about it in the somebody agrees with me. D. Smith, a lot of numbers, says yes, Ross over May. So D. Smith, smart person.
Oh, a lot of numbers.
A lot of numbers.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the question?
Who are you?
Oh, we were talking about it in our internal Dodgers Nation secret super chat channel. $1,000 if you guys want to join it, or just be good at writing.
I'll sell you the password for it.
You guys could go around as Brooke, just F you to everybody. But
be no change in the normal day-to-day routine.
The question came about, and I don't remember if it was from Daniel or from Jason, but it was about, like, you're here in the playoffs and it's a blowout game. Do you throw Russ Martin out there, just save your bullpen? And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of do have faith in him. Of course, we're seeing an entirely different brand of guys, bullpenny guys. As the kids say, bullpenny guys.
Yeah, those are words.
Yeah, you guys know the human words. As we're coming up close to game time, so we'll get out of here real soon. But wait, is the game on at
6:40?
It's 40. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Just confirm that start time.
Yeah, I don't remember where I was going with it, but I take Russell Martin. I take Russell Martin over Austin Barnes. Barnes would make the roster with his versatility, but because you do have a healthy CT3 who's performing well, you have a healthy Kike, my good close personal friend, who's performing well. Those are those spots. Like, I didn't really look at the bullpen, because I figured the bullpen kind of really writes itself.
It does. It works itself out. It's interesting how many people are being forced to the bullpen, though. It's kind of weird how that's worked out, like Gonsolin and possibly May. And Maeda.
Strange lot of numbers, says Martin over Barnes, too. Another one. We got Richard Hooker, Dick Hooker, in the stream, says, shout out, guys. Shout out, Dick Hooker.
He's from Lancaster.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Robert says, will every game, please? Yes.
Oh, he's starting every game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
We know you mean Will Smith, but, like, will every game, please?
Will Lutz.
Will every game, please?
Will Lutz is a kicker, right? He is a kicker. He's the New Orleans Saints
You let
kicker.
us know in the comments below. Ray's in the stream. Ray gives us some love. He says, hey, guys, checking in a bit late, but best, most awesome baseball show on the net. Thank you, Ray.
Thanks, Ray.
Beardman approved.
Beardman.
Jay Lukewarm says, Martin over Barnes. Thank you for hanging out with us. Tim agrees. Martin over Barnes for sure. Who else we got? So... yeah, Barnes is really there on the bubble, most likely not making it. Beatty makes my roster. Beatty makes my roster. Freezer, of course. Jed Jerko and Tyler White, you just jettison them somewhere. They don't belong.
To an island.
We were talking about this last night. Have you guys ever seen, like, more non-Dodger dudes than those dudes?
Oh, my gosh. Jed Jerko, I mean, I made the joke earlier. He looks like a fan who somehow, like, found a hat, got past security, and they were like, hey, what are you doing out here? He was like, don't you recognize me? I'm on the team. And they were like, where's your glove? And he's like, it's in the clubhouse. And then he went inside and stole somebody's glove and was like, I am Dodger now. And then now he just plays. And they were like, oh, yeah,
so
I guess he's on the team.
You're saying he has a learning disability.
That's possible.
Cool.
I mean, he can't really have a learning disability if he can spell his own last name, because that's a tough last name.
I don't know. I mean, that name does look like it's completely made up. He's just
Gayorko?
like, he's like P. T. Griffin. Yeah, he's just making it up along the way. Janae has a very, very important question. So when's the Beardman shirt dropping? I posted it online. Like, just send me $4,000. How much should I charge you? $4,000. 4,000 euros.
And you'll sign it.
And I will sign it.
And sweating it.
Oh, yeah.
If you'd like.
We got Jed Joko coming from Frank Talk LA. Frank Talk, where you been, brosif? Miss you.
What do you call him?
Miss your scent.
Jed Joko.
I miss your musk. We got Luke saying Jerko looks like he's 38 plus.
He does,
Now
yeah.
I feel kind of bad because
Aw.
he's trying. He's a nice boy, probably.
Yeah. He probably has a thyroid problem, too.
Yeah, y'all should talk more soup on Tyler White. But, yeah, Negron James doesn't make the roster even slightly.
Oh, man. I
KG
like him, though.
doesn't. Kyle Garlick might be like especially, I mean, that's another big thing we didn't really touch on too much, and we'll probably talk about more because he won't be active by then. Alex Verdugo, you really don't know when he's going to be back alive. He's hitting. Apparently, his oblique issue wasn't phantom.
No, it really was a real
felt
thing.
Phantom.
Yeah.
So we got Abe
Abner
Nerd.
caught on.
Is that Abner?
It's Abner. Abner
Oh,
Dominguez.
there it is. I'm going to go Abe Nerd.
I can read.
Abe Nerd Omega is a Family Guy reference for the win. Yes, you nailed it. Oh yeah, Perez wants me to point out that if Jed Jerko does hit a home run, a walk-off home run or whatever it is, it would be a jerk-off, of course, as we all saw coming. But for the things that nobody asked me about as we wrap up here in the 100th minute of the show,
Here
we're
we
not
are.
even there. But for me, my lineup goes as such. We got pitcher playing the one position, but of course Smith at catcher. I got Max Muncy at first. This is my playoff lineup, guys. Gavin Lux is at second base on my playoff defense. Fail.
Wait.
That's your first.
Wait. There you go. There it is.
That was your first 3 misses all in one
All in
sequence.
one, guys.
Yeah,
It's hot in here today.
it was really hot. Our air conditioning broke, guys.
As soon as this is over, I'm going to the farmer's market.
Now people are gonna know where we at.
There's a lot of farmers markets.
Corey Seager, I think, makes my team. Justin Turner. Bellinger is in right field on my team. Alex Verdugo is in center field, and A.J. Pollock. I understand that he can't play left field. He hasn't played left field at the major league level, but those are my guys in that order, or you flip them because I understand the way they're going. But, yeah, I have Lux starting at second base. Actually, I have Lux for me. I have him leading off. I have Lux, Verdugo, Turner, Bellinger, Muncy, Seager, Pollock, Smith. That is a deep as hell lineup.
That's a good lineup. Can confirm.
Lux isn't going to lead off.
He's not
I'm
gonna lead
aware
off.
of that.
No.
He's
But that's
been
okay.
leading off for OKC and Rancho and Tulsa and all the teams he's played with, but he's not going to lead off for the big league team.
No.
But
No,
if he did, ooh, can you guys imagine? Picture it with me right now. You guys see it, right? You see it. That's right. Up top.
Yeah.
Anyway, that looks bad on
I think
camera.
they're agreeing. Yeah, they got you. I'm right there with you on the lineup. I would definitely switch Verdugo and Pollock.
Why? Because you're a coward.
Yes, 100%. That's my name.
Well,
And I also would not have Lux bad lead off, but that's fine. But Doogie lead off. But Lux number
that's
2.
why your softball teams win games.
We lost last night.
Yeah, but that's my team that you play on. Yours probably win games.
I don't manage teams.
Coward.
I just show
And
up.
anyways, at any rate, guys, you guys can find us on the internet at DodgersNation.com. Subscribe to Blue Heaven on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Player FM, so many more places that you can hear podcast sounds.
Yep. I'm BrookMe3. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at that handle. You can find this guy at RealFRG. We are at Dodgers Nation on Twitter and at Official Dodgers Nation if you're nasty on Instagram. Huge thank you to our in-house production team
Of us.
at Mr. Stanhope Park over there. And thank you to for I could not do it.
Stan Dahl, baby.
Couldn't
That's
do
Stan
it.
Ho Park. Nice kid.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments. Thanks for making us laugh and making this worthwhile before
And
we cut
cry.
ourselves. Thanks for hanging out with us in general, even on the podcast side. Leave comment, subscription, do that, and then leave a subscription in the comments below.
That's cool.
And we'll see you next Thursday.
Bye.
Well, I mean, I won't.
Oh,
but-
I'll be there. He won't. I'll be there.
Bye, buddy.